And you worked closely with the whole movement around Chavez and labor movements.
Yeah.
And you became an expert in how to organize so that the beautiful ideas and visions can actually become translated into action.
We hope so.
Right. And in one of the pieces that I read, you are talking about how we have all bad experiences with meetings. And how, in a way, when we get together, we don't create synergy for more intelligence. We seem to get dumber often. But there are also really effective strategies and methods to become effective. And maybe you can say something about some of them.
Well, I think that at least in this country, there was a rich history of civic associations all through the 18th, 19th, first half of the 20th century, which were in effect schools for civic, not like civic principles, but tools, how to have meetings, how to make decisions, the basics of collective action. There were mechanisms through which people acquired those tools. This is what de Tocqueville saw when he came here in the 1830s. Saw, these civic associations, they're teaching people how to do this stuff. Well, a lot of those evaporated in the 50s, during the middle of the 20th century. And along with the kind of evaporation of those traditional institutions where people learned these basic tools, the whole ideology of individualism and just became even bigger. And so there aren't a lot of places where people have become, a lot of people, surprising to me, teaching at an elite university, students come, have become sort of organizationally illiterate, especially when it comes to self-governing organizations. And so it's a lot easier to say, we'll have a bureaucracy and provide services and try to make it efficient, or we'll just turn it into a market deal, and that way we don't have to worry about it. People just make choices and preferences. And so the work of actually bringing people together to do collective work together that's productive was getting to be a lost art, because it is a craft. It doesn't just happen. And in the civil rights movement, a lot of the leadership was trained in the black church, trained in black fraternal organizations, trained in black unions. And so we're sort of in a place where we need to recapture the capacity to do that. And so the way we've approached it is through sort of, first of all, recognizing that it's an issue, that the question of people being able to work together matters, not as command and control structure and not as market participants, but as collaborators. And so then what are the conditions that enable that? Well, first there's the work of creating a sense of shared values. Not 100%, but enough shared values that a common purpose can emerge from it. That's the work we do through narrative and through storytelling. Then there's the question of shared commitments, and that's the work we do through relationship building and working at relationships, not as feel-goods, but as fundamental to defining the interests that we have in collaboration with one another. Then the third piece we do is structural design, designing leadership teams, organizational. It's sort of, my generation experienced structure as oppressive, but the reality is you need structure to create space. I mean, it's sort of like this whole idea of positive freedom. And so mastering the tools of structure that create spaces in which people can collaborate and be creative, that's the third piece. The fourth piece is strategizing, which is learning how, as a group, to do the work of strategy. Not have some consultant come and tell you your strategy, but the ongoing process of strategizing that's involved. And then finally, turning it into measurable, concrete action, outcomes on the ground that you can see, so that you can learn from that and improve your practice, so it becomes a learning cycle. Now, those are the 5 practices that we focus on, and then putting them into what we call a cascading leadership structure, where the idea is that learners become teachers. And so you develop a team, then that team goes off and trains people to then become teams, and then they train people to become teams, and so forth. And for social movements, that's often how their leadership structures evolve in any event. And so we do that, and then we operate through what we call campaigns, which are focused streams of activity to sort of move you from here to there. It's not just like running a program, but that's kind of So, yeah, so we have a set of practices that we have been working at, training and developing.
On our website globalleadership.tv, you will find additional footage, other dialogues with innovation leaders from around the world, and also the hands-on practices that help them and their organizations to move from inspiration to real change.